Little Miss Magic by Roger Hargreaves. Early one morning in summer, little Miss Magic awoke in the bedroom of Abracadabra Cottage, which is where she lived. She yawned a yawn and got out of bed. She went to the bathroom to clean her teeth. Squeeze, she said to the tube of the toothpaste. And guess what? The tube of toothpaste jumped up and squeezed itself into Little Miss Magic's toothbrush. Honestly, Little Miss Magic isn't called Little Miss Magic for nothing. When she tells something to do something, it doesn't. She went downstairs to the kitchen. Boil, she said to the kettle. And it did. Toast, she said to the toaster. Spread, she said to a knife. And the knife jumped up and spread some butter on the toast. Pour, she said to the coffee pot. And she sat down to breakfast. Don't you wish you could make things do things like that? She was enjoying a second cup of coffee when there was a knock at the kitchen door. Open, she said to the door. And as it did, there stood Mr. Happy, looking quite the opposite. You don't look your usual self, remarked Little Miss Magic. What's the matter? Everything, replied Mr. Happy. Come in and tell me about it, she said. Half a cup of coffee. Pour, she said to the coffee pot. Now, said Little Miss Magic. What is it? It's Mr. Tickle. Replied Mr. Happy. He's to come absolutely impossible. What do you mean? Asked Mr. Happy. Asked Little Miss Magic. Well, went up Mr. Happy. He used to go around tickling people every now and then. But now he's going around tickling people all the time. He sighed. Little Miss Magic looked at him. It can't be that bad, she said. It's worse, said Mr. Happy unhappily. Cheer up, she grinned. Come on, she said. And off they set from Abracadabra Cottage after you, said Little Miss Magic to Mr. Happy. Close, she said to the door. Mr. Tickle was in full cry. What a Monday morning he was having. He tickled Mr. Mean until he moaned, and Mr. Greedy until he groaned, and Little Miss Sunshine until she shivered, and Mr. Quiet until he quivered, and Little Miss Plump until she pleaded, and Little Miss Shy until she'd sob. Not to mention the postman, a policeman, the doctor, 3 dogs, 2 cats, and a worm. Cried Mr. Tickle as he spied Little Miss Magic and Mr. Happy. Anyone for tickets? And he rushed up to them, reaching out those extraordinary long arms of his, which was particularly ticklish because of the ends there. Little Miss Magic looked at Mr. Happy. I see what you mean, she said, and winked. She pointed at Mr. Tickle's extraordinary long right arm. Shrink, she said. And then she pointed at Mr. Tickle's extraordinary long left arm. Shrink, she said again. And just remember, when Little Miss Magic tells something to do something, it does it. Mr. Tickle's arms were suddenly not extraordinary long. They were extraordinary ordinary. That is not fair, he cried. You spoiled my fun. It might have been fun for you, remarked Mr. Happy, because it wasn't much fun for everybody else. Come and see me tomorrow, said Little Miss Magic to Mr. Tickle. There, she said to Mr. Happy. Happy now? Mr. Happy smiled that famous smile of his. I say, he said. Come on, he added. I'll buy you a lunch. And off they went for their favorite restaurant, Smiler's. On Tuesday, Mr. Tickle went round to Abracadabra Cottage. He opened at a front door. Open, said a voice inside. Oh, hello, smiled little Miss Magic as the door opened by itself and she saw who's standing there. Come in. I expect you like me to make your arms long again, she said. Oh, yes, please, said Mr. Tickle. Very well, she said. Mr. Tickle's face lit up. On one condition, she added. His face fell. You are only allowed 1 tickle a day. 1 tickle a day? Said Mr. Tickle. That's not much. Promise, said Little Miss Magic. Mr. Tickle sighed. Promise, he said. Grow, said Little Miss Magic. And both Mr. Tickle's eyes grew back to their original long length. Now don't remit, she added. Remind him. 1 tickle a day. Or else, she added. Mr. Tickle went right out the door. Goodbye, she said to him. Shut, she said to the door. Mr. Tickle stood outside Little Miss Magic's cottage. Ah, well, he thought. 1 tickle a day is better than no tickles a day. It was then when he saw when the downstairs window of Abracadabra which was open. 1 tickle a day, he thought, and a small smile came up to his face. 1 tickle a day, he thought. And on that Tuesday morning, as one of those extraordinary long arms reached in through the open window of Abracadabra Cottage, the small smile on the face of Mr. Tickle turned into a giant grin. 1 tickle a day, he thought. and he tickled Miss Magic. Okay, this is not attack. It's just Miss Magic making a counterpart Abracadabra. Some weird egad. No boy, that's Bummer Food Piss Cat. I think you need to fix my hair and my nose that's coming off. And technically, they're probably just like the weird programs and just technical and just you should technically get your stuff and fight. Look at some egads. I like a piece of meat. Oh, never mind. It's just not bad. Just trying to get it. You technically like red diamonds, though. And you better get yourself your brand X. Oh, this is like magic. Technical egads. You